Listen, if I'm Kirk Cousins right now, I hold all the cards. He has, I don't know if there's ever been a player in the history of the National Football League that has more leverage than Kirk Cousins.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not even having a discussion. I'm not picking up the phone if the floor is $24 million a year. 24, that's what you got.
At least.
At least. Like, it has to start.
Because Carr
well, I'm just saying, I'm just saying because he's being tagged at right around 24. So I can't even entertain your phone call without it at least being $24 million a year. Then you got to factor in, okay, he's getting franchised this year. If he gets franchise or transition tag next year, that's another $28 to $34 million next year. So you're talking about a guy. I mean, think how he's been licking him the last couple years. Right. He's been franchised the past 2 years. More than likely, he's going to be either franchise or transition, or he's going to become a free agent. Right. And Kirk, he can't lose. Even if he has a bad year, you don't think Kyle Shanahan will scoop him up regardless? Because Kyle Shanahan knows Kirk Cousins, knows that probably whatever happened, this past year, it doesn't matter.
I was just right here in the seat.
Come on.
The body's still warm, man.
You don't think Kyle Shanahan would sign Kirk Cousins in a heartbeat?
No, absolutely.
Absolutely. So if I'm Kirk Cousins, I'm holding pat right now. I'm not worried about signing the deal. I got $24 million coming out of the way this year. And I'll deal with everything after the season. But there's no rush for Kirk Cousins to sign a deal right now.
Washington doesn't have a choice, and they miscalculated. They were hoping that at some point he wouldn't bet on himself and he would get nervous because he was a second-round or fourth-round draft pick, whatever that was. And now he's got him. Like you said, 3 years, $70-something million. He's probably going to make more money in a 3-year span than anybody in the NFL, especially if he gets tagged next year. And where does Washington go? Right. See, the great organizations, they recognize people, they recognize their players for the future early. And I feel like every year they keep expecting him to fall off. And you talk about a guy who had 4,900 yards last year, before over 4,000 yards. Now, I think this year he's going to have a worse season. You talk about him losing his offensive coordinator. Matt Cavanaugh is his offensive coordinator now. I think they have less weapons. You talk about Pryor. It's going to be tough to replace Garcon. It's going to be tough to replace Deshaun Jackson. Right. You talk about Jordan Reed. Can he stay healthy? So I think he may not have a good season. They're going to try and use that against him. Do they take the ball out of his hands and try and go more through the running game to make sure that his numbers aren't as good? Because you understand that we all know that they sabotage players all the time. Right. I can see them running the ball more and trying to get his numbers down to diminish his value.
But it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, if he hits free agency, there's going to be teams, whether it be the Jets or, all these teams that don't have a quarterback, there going to be teams lined up.
But it's only one.
And that's where bidding wars start. And
hold on.
He can't lose any way you look at it.
But if I'm Dan Snyder, I think you owe your fan base.
It's too late, though.
But you owe them an apology for it to even get here, though. Because they're in a situation now, like, how do you apologize for the quarterback play that you've had over the last, 15, 20 years? Think about these names that these fans had to go through: Heath Shuler, Gus Frerotte, Trent Green, Brad Johnson, Tony Banks, RG3, Mark Brunell, Jason Campbell. Remember Donovan McNabb on the way out? This is what they had to go through. And you finally got a guy that you drafted. You drafted Kirk Cousins. And now to make things right, let's give him a deal. It's okay to say, you know what? I apologize to my fan base. We missed it with RG3. We oversold and we got bit. But how many times must this organization keep putting their hand on the fire and say, oh, no, we're not getting burned. You're getting burned.
How great does Shanahan look now? Burned. They found their RG3. They found their late-round draft pick that could lead their franchise into the future. And they didn't recognize it, and they didn't lock him up early enough. So now, no matter what,
it's their fault.
If you do pay him that money, it's going to cripple your franchise. When you could have got him for 70 cents on the dollar. Now you're going to pay top dollar plus a luxury.
But who wants to say, you know what? We made a mistake. We're sorry. And that's why they're in a position now. Pay that man.
I'm always fascinated by the criticism that, he's going to have to prove himself. This guy's been proving himself every year.
The past couple years.
He's good, not great. And sometimes you have to realize everybody can't have a Tom Brady. Everybody can't have an Aaron Rodgers. Everybody can't have a Drew Brees. But it's okay to have an 8 and not a 10 as a girlfriend.
The last 15 quarterbacks Washington has drafted, only 3 Pro Bowls combined. Kirk Cousins already been to the Pro Bowl and is.
Well, that don't count.
I'm just throwing you. I'm just telling you.
You like that?
His performance
you like that?
speaks for itself.